All day, every day, that's right, it is KHTS, bringing you everything you need to know, the latest, the greatest information, keeping you up to date on everything in the Santa Clarita Valley. And as part of that, I have two special guests in the studio this morning. I have Chief Wayne Marks and Chief Shawn Saathoff of Vanguard Protection Group. And if you haven't heard those names, if you haven't heard of Vanguard Protection Group before, well, get ready, because you're about to get to know them, the incredible services that they offer, and the difference that they make in terms of providing protection instead of security. Now, good morning, gentlemen. How are you guys doing today?
Doing fantastic.
Good morning, thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. Good to have both of you guys in the studio. Now, I know all about you guys. We've been working together for the past couple of weeks, and I'm excited to have you guys share what you offer, what you're going to bring to Santa Clarita. So enough of me talking about it. Let's have you guys talk about it. So what is Vanguard Protection Group? How did it get started?
Well, we started Vanguard Protection Group. We worked for a competitor for a good number of years, and we saw a lot of things in the industry that we were not happy with, and we knew we could do a lot better. So my business partner and I set out to change things a little bit.
Yep. Really it stemmed off of, what's currently provided here, in most cities nowadays with the private protection industry that really hasn't kept pace with the rate of crime and, incidents that are involving, huge amounts of property crime and theft that police departments nowadays really are struggling to deal with.
Like you said, we've talked about it off the air, but bringing it to light on the air, there's a bit of a gray area now in terms of what your normal security company provides and the lackluster service that usually involves, and also what police officers are able to do in order to keep the public safe. That area is growing, and you guys serve to fill that need, right?
Very much so. I mean, unfortunately, the law enforcement agencies that we're lucky to have up here are overburdened and underfunded, and like you said, there's only so much they can do with what they have. And typically the other, we'll call them competitors in the field, they are lacklusters, a kind word. They are very untrained and, ungeared, and they just go out there as a warm body to drive around, and that's really it, and they don't provide much assistance.
So let's dive into exactly what makes you different, how you guys set out to change just the perception of security and protection overall, especially in the private sector, and how Vanguard Protection does it differently. So tell me a little bit about who you hire. What's the difference between your staff and everybody else?
Well, I'll kick that to Shawn because he's a former police officer out of Stockton, and I think it's great for you to touch on that.
Sure. Well, fairly immediately, the key difference that we noticed was the quality of the individual. Most private security companies in the area, really in the state, hire pretty much anyone off the street that can get a license. Most of these people have zero, or very little training or capability in the most basic of tasks, things like observing and reporting. Reports are the lifeblood of our industry, and being able to compile a court-ready, detailed report isn't something you can just do. That takes education. So after identifying these issues, we decided that we were only going to hire people that have prior military experience, a graduate of a California Police Officers Academy, or have a college degree. And that's what creates the base of what we build upon to make them into one of our officers.
Quality of person. I love that term. That's a huge difference in terms of just like you said, the core of what makes you guys who you are. Starting with getting great people in the company in turn helps you provide great services from there. So that's awesome to hear. So going into those officers a little bit more that you do hire, they're all highly trained, highly armed. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
And how so? What makes them different from the we're not naming names, just the other security companies that people may be unhappy with or may not be doing their jobs fully?
Well, like Shawn said, they go out and get the state minimum, and then they're just thrown into a car and left out, really unsupervised because they're in a car by themselves, out conducting their patrols. But our officers go through an in-house training program. We have sort of like a mini academy, if you will, and our officers never see any street time until they're fully tested, gone through all of the in-house training, and then they're signed off on. They actually don't receive their badge and their pinning ceremony until they go through our complete training. They pass all the exams. And then once they're out in the field, we have recurring training both for, California state law as well as, tactics and proficiency and safety. And we do that, almost every month.
That's awesome to hear.
Yep.
Like many other industries, there's frequent tests, frequent certifications, new licenses to have to test for and pass. So it's awesome to hear that it's not just a one-time thing or a short checklist just to make sure that, hey, we can get you in the car, go ahead and have fun. it's a full-on training. It's more than just a job that you can sort of hire anybody off the street to do.
Yeah, and a lot of people, even clients, don't really realize the level of activity that we're dealing with. We deal with a lot of the same issues that law enforcement does, just on a smaller scale. But we have the same dangers, dealing with the same incidents, everything from domestic violence, burglary, property crimes, assaults, batteries, all of it. So their ability to deal with those things when they occur, because they just, a lot of these things are at random. You don't know when they're going to happen. So their ability to deal with those things is absolutely key.
Yep.
And one of the big differences, like we were talking about just before we went on air, is that you guys aren't hands off. You guys really do get in there and make a difference. You're not just another funnel to call the police. You're not just going to be there as more of a monitor. You guys come, like we were saying, fully trained, fully armed, and ready to actually make a difference.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, we've all seen the commercial on TV where the guy's robbing the bank and he's a security monitor, and all he does is just tell him, "Hey, you're being robbed," and does nothing about it. And we kind of feel like that with our industry, where we have officers driving around. The one that actually patrols near my community where I live, I've called him out for a domestic violence call before, and that individual came, talked to me, and then started to leave. And when I asked him what he's doing, he's like, "Oh, I'm going to leave the property and call the police." And I immediately thought, like, well, what are you doing? Like, why are they paying you to come here? I mean, zero responsibility whatsoever. So our officers are extremely proactive and very effective. They engage whatever issue that we call them out for and help our client that way.
And that's a huge difference. Like you said, it's the difference between being a monitor, being just another response call, which can make the difference, which can be very helpful. But Vanguard Protection is different. You guys want to take that to the next level, and like we were talking also off the air, but you want to reform the image of security, of private protection. It's not supposed to be a second-rate service, not something that's just sort of cheap and on the side, but something that people can trust in and believe in, that you guys are going to be there for them.
Very much so.
When clients reach out to us, they're doing so because they've got serious problems. Most of the time, it's because they've been victimized by a series or many years of ongoing crime that's affected their property, their image, their safety. So when they reach out to us, they're expecting results, and we feel that anything less than meeting their expectations and exceeding them would really be a disservice.
Mm-hmm.
And we mentioned earlier just in this interview, you were talking about the articulate, detailed, court-ready reports that you guys provide. So let's say there's not necessarily an arrest that needs to be made or something a little bit more trying to protect, let's say, a stalker. But even if it's just a patrol service, if you guys are watching a property, even if there's nothing happening, you guys are still writing that down, monitoring what you see, and giving clients results, feedback, something that they want to see, instead of just, hey, are they doing something? Is my money going to the right place, or is it actually being used properly? So all of your time is being spent towards protecting, reporting, observing, doing anything that you need to do to keep stuff safe. So that's awesome. And I've got a list in front of me here, but looking at the clients that you guys serve, I mean, you have everything from residential, commercial, and industrial clients. So what are some of the services you guys offer to those locations?
Well, our bread and butter is really patrol service and a response service. So we use proactive random patrols to dissuade people from committing crime on our clients' properties. And then if something comes to our property and does something they shouldn't, then we have very swift, efficient response. Those are probably our two largest.
And in addition to that, patrol services, response services, alarm response, and special event services. You guys do anything when it comes to private protection and security. Nothing is too small, and at the same time, nothing is too big. Keeping people safe is what you guys are all about. So
Precisely.
So is there anything else that you want? You know what? Before we go, it's the holiday season, and so with that comes increases in theft. I know you guys have been very swamped with extra activity, but
Yes. Very much.
For people at home, what are just some easy things that they can do to help keep their property and themselves safe?
Well, going into the holiday season, this is probably, the most unusual that we've ever had in my lifetime, at least. People aren't necessarily going out to shop, but the huge amounts of online orders has really changed the dynamic of how criminals are targeting things. So the porch pirate activity is, absolutely astronomical right now. So ensuring that you protect your home against some of those intrusions is key. So making sure that you leave instructions for any package deliveries to have them placed in an area that's out of view, or arrange for you to be home when those packages come. If not, if you're away, make sure your doors and windows are locked. You think that would be, an obvious thing, but you'd be surprised at how many people leave back doors or windows unlocked. Criminals, they're looking for targets of opportunity, things they can do easily. So the more you fortify your house, keep lights on, windows closed, blinds closed, cars in the driveway if you're leaving for an extended period of time, ask a neighbor to park a car in the driveway, things like that. Make yourself as hard as target as you possibly can.
Absolutely. It's stuff that seems, I'm not even going to call it simple, but it's just everyday activities that we do in our lives that we don't really think about. It's just stuff that's routine, stuff that seems normal, but those make the difference. It's kind of putting out the image that somebody's still home. There's somebody still here, whether it's you or a neighbor. Putting out the image and letting people know that, hey, there's somebody monitoring this property. There's somebody watching it. It makes all the difference in the world.
Yep.
And
Yes.
like you said with the online deliveries, utilize that special instructions box. It's
Exactly.
there. It's always there for every
Yeah.
order. You can type it in. Hey, put it on the side. Put it around behind a pole that you have or something. Take advantage of that. They offer it to you. So why not? Make it the safest as possible.
Exactly.
And I would also add, the point about asking a neighbor to help out. I mean, a lot of people say, I don't know my neighbor. I can't think of a better way to, get to know somebody that lives right next door to you is just say, would you mind parking your car in my driveway? Or, I'm expecting a package and I won't be home. If you would grab that for me, and it's a good way to keep your stuff safe.
That's a great point. I mean, what better than to know that your neighbors are looking out for you, and also you can offer that same protection in return. Say,
Exactly.
hey, if you guys do this for me, I'm happy to get to know you and give you that same level of security.
Yep.
And if you get to know them better, then you can both keep each other safer than ever. So it's a great suggestion, Wayne.
Yep.
Thank you for that.
Sure.
Well, gentlemen, it's been great to get to know you. We're going to have you in very soon. We're going to let people know, the listener out there, know exactly who you guys are, what you're about, and the difference that you're making in this community. So it's been a pleasure to have you in here. And if you're driving in your car right now, no matter where you're at, check out Facebook Live, KHTS Radio. We've got it. We've got them in the studio right now, so you can see these two gentlemen. They are dressed to the nines. You can tell already that the image that they put out is far and above what some of the other companies offer. So they're going to show you what it means to what the difference that Vanguard Protection makes. So look for the contact information, phone numbers, websites, and not only is it going to be on Facebook Live, but gentlemen, how can people call you? What's a phone number to reach out if they want to utilize your services?
Our station number is area code 661-753-3611, and they can also reach us online. Our web address is vanguardprotectiongroup.com.
And the phone number is one more time?
661-753-3611.
You guys may be former officers, but I'm going to train you up into these beautiful radio buffs and get you guys all polished. But it's been great to have you in. It's
Thank you.
awesome to get
It's
to
been
know
fun
you
for us.
guys, and I'm glad you had some fun as well. We're excited for you guys to be a part of the KHTS family and really let Santa Clarita know what Vanguard Protection is all about. So
Yep.
Absolutely.
thank you, gentlemen, for your time.
Thank you for having us.
course.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so we are going to get you back to your favorite holiday music right here on KHTS Radio. All of your holiday favorites and everything you need to stay in the holiday spirit is right here. So don't go anywhere. This is KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM, AM 1220.